ਇਹ ਸਪਿਰਚੁਅਲ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ AMC ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਪਾਂਸਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ 6045076666 ਤੇ ਫੋਨ ਕਰੋ। Once again welcome back to the program। ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਭਾਈ ਹਰਨਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਉਣਗੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਵਿਸ਼ੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ। ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਦੀ ਭਾਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈ। ਹੈਪੀਨੈਸ ਇਜ਼ ਐਨ ਇੰਟੈਗਰਲ ਪਾਰਟ ਆਫ ਆਰ ਲਾਈਵਸ ਬਟ ਟੁਡੇ ਵੀ ਆਰ ਸੀਕਿੰਗ ਇਟ ਆਊਟਵਰਡ। ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰੇਸ ਲੱਗੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਐਕਿਊਮੂਲੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਪਰ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਵਜੂਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਖੁਸ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉਸ ਕੌਨਸਟੈਂਟ ਸਟੇਟ ਆਫ ਹੈਪੀਨੈਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਜੋ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਖੁਸ਼ਹਾਲੀ ਲਿਆ ਸਕਦੇ। ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਆਇਓ।
ਲਓ ਜੀ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
Pursuit of happiness. It's never ending kind of game which has started. When we look back, we find people were less educated, but they were contented, they were living a happy life. Today we have everything what we want, but despite that we are not happy.
That's true.
How to bring that happiness into our lives?
Well, G, everybody wants to find happiness, but nobody wants to be happy. Happiness, I teach a simple philosophy that happiness starts with your commitment. We teach 7 steps of happiness.
Okay.
First starts with commitment.
Right.
You have to commit to your happiness, which means you have to have the consciousness to take care of yourself. Most in this world live, blame, complain.
Right.
If you live to blame and complain about everything, you'll never find happiness. Happiness is the acceptance of self, to know yourself, trust yourself, love yourself, be yourself, and be devoted. And in our case, be devoted at the feet of the Guru. Guru promises happiness.
Right.
We don't want to accept that truth. We want to fight in life. We want to fight each other. We want to complain. We say we don't have enough, yet we have so much in this country.
Right.
So everybody's complaining. Many people are complaining in their life and don't want to find that happiness and find a way out of it. Yet ultimately, before we leave this world, we want to be happy and be joyful in our lives. And that joy comes from acceptance.
Right.
Acceptance within yourself, acceptance of others, and letting others live. The legacy of our gurus, they stood for the human rights of all people. They stood that every single person has a right of choice.
Right.
And gave their lives, our gurus and martyrs gave their lives so that people would have the choice to live as they choose and to practice as they believe. That's a human right. So we have to make choices that bring that happiness to us. There's lots of distraction, there's lots of maya, there's lots of duality out there. But when there's duality, there's never reality.
Right.
Guru and Guru's Hukamnama brings us to the reality of our devotion and way of being and dispels duality. But we don't want to leave it. We want to think something is wrong. And then we fall into that, if I don't look this way. And then the children don't understand that, how to find that true happiness.
Right.
And then they get sidetracked because today there is overload. And there's so much overload in the brains and everything is so much into the head. What Guru says, bring all that stuff you have in your head and bring it to your soul and heart. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj taught more about how to command and control your mind. What happens is we're a slave to that mind. And when we become a slave to the mind, then we spin out. We have to learn to command our mind. The strength of Gurbani, the strength of Simran, the strength of any devotion in any faith is to learn to command your mind and not be a slave to it.
Right.
As long as you become that slave, you'll never find that happiness. Commanding that mind means to have that strength that we call in English grit, to have that strength to know right from wrong. And that starts with a commitment to that self.
Right.
Commitment brings that character of being. That character of being creates a dignity within yourself. That dignity creates a divinity. Divinity means you feel that God is with you. When you understand that, it brings you to the process of grace.
Right.
Grace means I am grateful for everything, and the attitude of gratitude. So here's 5 steps. Commitment is the start of anything, brings us character. Character brings us dignity.
Right.
Dignity brings us that divinity. Divinity brings us that grace, where we have an attitude of gratitude.
Right.
And when one holds an attitude of gratitude for everything, then we come to that 6th stage, which is called power of sacrifice.
Right.
Then there's no fear. Why do we are unhappy? Why do we fight each other? Because we have fear.
Yeah.
Hanji? And always that will bring us, once we We let go of that fear, nirbo, nirver, let go of that fear, any resentments inside of ourselves, and feel that strength of Guru in our hearts, we'll always find happiness.
That's very true. These 6 steps, if you start following that, definitely happiness will not be elusive. But today we find we are earning today, we are working more and more, and then we always want that happiness from outward things. Our job has started working more towards outside accumulations, but to delve that thought, change that thought process to delve it more into inside, because if we are not jumping inside, then definitely that whatever we might accumulate might give us momentarily happiness, but it won't be a constant happiness. So to start off with, to change your perspective, to go into inside, how to start with that?
You know, there's a story of a man who worked his whole life, strove to make money, worked as a workaholic 7 days a week, made money, made tons of money, got so sick that he had to spend all the money that he made working so hard trying to get his health back. Right.
And that's what we're doing.
You know, and that's kind of the concept, you know.
Same story with us.
Yeah, same story. So, you know, why don't we start? You know, we've talked in the past about consciousness, about awareness. You know, Guru says you're not going to take your cars, your houses, your clothes with you when you leave.
Right.
Right. You come and we go. Right. What we do in between that time, we have that opportunity in life. We're not permanent residents, right? We come, and sometime we're going to go, right? And Guru says if you lead that life of purity, if you make that commitment, says that messenger of death won't even touch you, right? You won't be affected by that. And what we do in this lifetime, if we have that commitment to our happiness, then we'll want to change our life and our lifestyle to promote that happiness within ourselves. Because it's not outside. I can't go to the store and buy happiness. I can't convince you, and I can't say, tell you you have to be happy. You have to feel that within yourself. So that's when I'm talking about those steps. Is it's a simple process of when you identify that you are a creature created by a creator to live in this creation and be grateful. 2 words in grateful: great and full. But we feel empty. And we have a million excuses why I'm empty. Well, this isn't working, and my marriage isn't working, my kids are doing this, or the kids say, well, I'm not getting, there's a million excuses that we can make of why we should be depressed. But I say, don't be depressed in life, be impressed with life. Be impressed with it. Guru teaches us to be impressed with life, not to be depressed.
Absolutely.
And I say, don't be frustrated, be first-rated. Be first-rated. Don't be frustrated. It's a matter of choice, and which is the right of every human to be happy. It's a birthright. We were born innocent. We were born with a birthright to be happy, not to be miserable. So why be miserable? For what? To get sick, to be unhappy, to hurt others, to feel hurt, to run away from situations, run away from our responsibilities. And then what do our children learn from that?
Same.
That's why we have the problem. And we have a technology to help through that. We have a technology to lift the spirit. We have a technology of devotion. What is devotion? Devotion's a divine ocean. It's vast, it's huge. That's what I learned to see. And when I came at the age 24 to the feet of the Guru, I wasn't looking, somebody should know, this is so-so. I came because I wanted to be happy. I wanted to become a better person. And not that I didn't go through struggles in these 40 years, because believe me, I did everything. But Guru never I may have let myself down at different times in my life, but Guru had never let me down. My choice was, do I follow or not, until I got hit over the head enough times. I said, okay, I give up. I'm yours. Whatever you want me, okay.
Get it done through me.
Just, but that's age and wisdom. And that's what I'm trying, of course, now to bring through my educational endeavors and purposes out to help educate people. So that happiness, I have to decide in me. Okay, Harinam Singh, do you want to be miserable your whole life and blame everybody for all your mistakes? It wasn't my fault, it's your fault. I said, no, take responsibility. I live by a simple rule. I never blame anybody for anything.
I'm responsible.
I take responsibility. If it didn't work out, maybe it was my communication, maybe my action, maybe I could have done it this way, evaluate it. And that's what I use the meditation for. It's what I use my time of keeping still. They call mindfulness today. to find that mindfulness within myself. And that's when we need the relaxed body. That's where we need to eat properly and digestible foods, especially today. You know, Guru gave us a lifestyle, a style of living to help us physical, mental, and spiritual. And gave us all the knowledge beyond this world.
Right.
No one else had ever given, beyond this world. And yet what do? G? We walk away from it.
Right.
We don't trust it. We get miserable, depression, and it's a very sad situation, and one that I'm working so hard to try to help and uplift everyone and uplift myself. And Guru keeps us uplifted.
Right.
You know, our job today, G, is like a forklift. You know those forklifts go under and lift, go under and lift, go under and lift. That's all my job. Now I'm just a forklift driver after all these years, right? Go under, lift, go under,
That's
lift.
a different kind of upliftment
What can we
which
do?
is being done.
But I have to take responsibility within myself for that.
Right.
Right? To be happy at the place. Yeah, maybe it's not perfect. Maybe I'm not making them. Maybe this isn't exact. But still within that. In that tornado, you know, in every tornado that swirls, there's a calmness inside.
Absolutely.
And to remember that after every rainstorm, there's a sunrise.
Absolutely.
And see in that perspective,
Right.
and that's the support of the Guru.
That's great. If this kind of thought prevails in every person, then of course this no tension, no issue will be there. Talked about devotion. When we talk about devotion today, with devotion comes this general thinking is if you are devoted to something, just accept as it is, whatever it is. Don't use your brain. Don't ask any question. But in Sikhism, it's a different concept probably. That we were told by Guru Nanak to always ask the question why. Because with why your internal questions will be answered. But today there's another trend which is going on is that be devoted and that's it. And then there is a transaction which is happening, we have started doing that, oh Lord, I'm doing this, in return give me this. So that transactional approach which has come, is this what devotion means?
Well, you know, when I came to Sikhism, I didn't become a born-again Sikh. I became a born-again human.
Right.
You know, we have to ask, but you know, Guru taught me to take all the why, turn it to wah, right? Because Guru Nanak gave the answers, right?
Yeah.
When people did say, well, why should I meditate in the morning? Why should I be devoted at the feet of God? What is the power in the Nam? You know, Guru Nanak said the Nam, you know, was Sat Nam and Namadhyaya, you know, like just be devoted in that way. We say every day, Jinni Namadhyaya Ge Mashakatagal Nanakate Mukujale Keti Shuti Nam.
Right.
The Jinni Namadhyaya, that those who meditate and go into Dhyaya, the depth of that within themselves, what happens? They become radiant, smiling.
Right.
And many people are carried with them. And that's that concept of devotion. When you meditate on the Nam, and it vibrates so deep inside. Because remember that Gurmukhi is a technology of sound.
Right.
You don't have to understand the words. When I didn't know even one word that first day, but the sound current cleared my mind. Because the Gurbani works in a sound vibration. We call that Shabad Guru.
Right.
It's Nod, the science of sound is Nod, that science of sound. And within that Gurmukhi, it changes the chemistry within the body. It says even Gurbani can change DNA, they've said. Is that true? I don't know. But that's the power because it's a vibration. It's all in raga, it's all in sound current.
Right.
But it's a specific sound current that vibrates into the very essence of the fiber of a human that changes one's consciousness and leads to that devotion.
Right.
And gracefulness and gratitude. So devotion, when we see it in terms of giving us the information, giving us technology, giving us an understanding of how to live this life. So we say there's no trust that's blind, right? There's no faith that's blind.
Right.
And that's what Guru Nanak died. He said, have faith, but there's no blind faith.
Yeah.
So he said, have the faith.
Right.
And that's that commitment we talk about, right? To have the faith. That if Guru says everything shall be looked after, then it shall be looked after.
That's right.
Not, well, now I got to go struggle and then push and pull and push everything. If Guru says, relax, don't worry, I've got you covered.
Right.
I'm taking care of everything. I'm settling everything for you. Then we have to trust.
Very true. That trust has to be there, and that's how your upliftment will be there. Otherwise, challenges what we are facing today will be in front of us. So all these issues what we have talked about, because as I said in the beginning, everybody is in a pursuit of happiness, but it is eluding us. You're organizing a camp from August 25th to 27th in Mission. So will these topics be covered over there?
Well, absolutely, and we're holding the Charity Kala Sikh Sangat, our Sangat camp,
Right.
because we want all people to come, and not just from Sikh faith, but all people who'd like to come. There's a devotional practice in our tradition, of course, but we want to create the forums for discussion, especially in these times with hate crimes and the advancement of racism, things like that, and to support parents and to support the children who have children's activities, but in a very contained way so that we can begin the dialogue. And to have it continue afterwards. This is our first, but we want to continue the process and establish more and more communication and support networks, which our community really needs desperately, as the support networks for our young people, for parents, for women who are going through, and young women, and our professionals. So we have a great opportunity. So the camp, we want the camp to be able to, it's a beginning process of beginning the avenues of dialogue.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Bhai Sahab. Thank you very much.
Always my privilege. Wai Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਭਾਈ ਹਰਨਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈਪੀਨੈਸ ਦੇ ਸੰਬੰਧ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਇਲੂਡ ਕਰਦੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਮ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਮਿਟਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਦੇਰ ਲਈ ਤਾਂ ਇਨਸਪਾਇਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਪਰ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਮਿਟਮੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹ ਇਲੂਡ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈਪੀਨੈਸ ਸਾਨੂੰ, ਯਾਨੀ ਕਿ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਦੂਰ ਭੱਜਦੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਅਤੇ ਆਮ ਤੌਰ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਲੇਮ ਗੇਮ ਵਗੈਰਾ 'ਚ ਪੈ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਦੇ ਕਾਰਨ ਇਹ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਇਆ, ਜਦ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਰਿਸਪੌਂਸਿਬਲ ਹਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਵਾਸਤੇ। ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ 6 ਸਟੈਪਸ ਦੱਸੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ, ਇਹੀ ਜੇਕਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਅਪਣਾ ਲਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਏਗਾ, ਦਿਮਾਗੀ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ, ਮਾਨਸਿਕ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ, ਜਾਂ ਸਰੀਰਕ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ, ਜਾਂ ਸਪਿਰਿਚੁਅਲ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਸਫ਼ਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਸ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਕਾਮਯਾਬੀ ਮਿਲੇ, ਪਰ ਇਹ ਤਦ ਹੀ ਪੋਸੀਬਲ ਹੈ ਜੇਕਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਨਮਸਤਕ ਤਾਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਹੋਈਏ, ਮੱਥੇ ਤਾਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਟੇਕੀਏ, ਪਰ ਜੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਕਹਿ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਅਪਣਾਈਏ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ। ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੱਖ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ 1 ਅਗਸਤ 25 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਅਗਸਤ 27 ਤੱਕ ਇੱਕ ਕੈਂਪ ਦਾ ਆਯੋਜਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਸਕਰੀਨ ਤੇ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਹੋਏ ਫੋਨ ਨੰਬਰ ਅਤੇ ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਰਜਿਸਟਰ ਕਰਵਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਇਹ ਸਪਿਰਿਚੁਅਲ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ AMC ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਪਾਂਸਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ। 6045076666 ਤੇ ਫੋਨ ਕਰੋ।